Welcome to the Bluegrass Breakdown radio show. Going to have a good show tonight. We have a great guest lined up. It's Derek Anderson, former Kentucky great, 1996 national champion, 2005 NBA champion with the Miami Heat. He's got Olympic gold medal, I believe, as well. So, it's my favorite guest we've had since we've been around here at KentuckySports.co.
As far as representing really what the show's about, the state of Kentucky, Louisville, Winston Bennett, I guess you got to put him up there with Derek Anderson. I think they were even both drafted by the Cavs, I believe. But having grown up in Louisville and then ended up at Kentucky and then going on to an NBA career, I think that Derek Anderson ranks got to be right up there with the epitome of what our show likes to have on as a guest.
You're live on the Bluegrass Breakdown radio show.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Good. How you doing tonight?
Pretty good.
Who do we got here?
Hey, this is Brother Mac.
Brother Mac.
I just wanted to talk a little basketball.
Go for it.
We've had a rough week in basketball, especially U of L. But I'm a big Blue fan in that. And after the game on Tuesday night in the Courier Journal, in the feature section, they came out with dishes that were fit for a coach. And one of the dishes that they mentioned was a dish called veal scapellini a la Patino. And I figure if Patino can't get this team turned around here soon, he might be on his way out. I just wanted your guys' opinion about that.
It certainly has to be considered, although it wasn't actually the worst loss that Louisville has had since Patino has been here. By a point margin, you got to say it probably was actually the worst loss. So, Mac, Brother Mac, I mean, it doesn't get much worse than it was right after that last game. I don't know that Patino is actually on the hot seat, but, I mean, do you think so, Brother Mac?
I do think so. I tell you what, he's been here, 10, 11 years now?
Going on it.
Taking Louisville to the Final Four maybe once.
One time.
And he's the highest paid coach. He's making $7.5 million a year. The closest one to him is Krzyzewski, and he's only making like $3.5 million. So he's almost making twice the amount in salary, yet he can't produce a winning program. Now, when he came on with Kentucky and that, I followed him all through his years as he was a coach there. Matter of fact, I bought his book and that, and I'm not seeing his players react like the players of Kentucky days. And even through those difficult times where he had the difficult players, I mean, he wasn't even recruiting top All-Americans, and he was getting through and getting to, Sweet 16s or Final 8s or Final 4s with, overachievers. These kids, I don't know if they're listening to him or what, or if they're just not even taking anything into consideration what he talks about nowadays. But right now, they are 127th in points per game.
Wow.
They're 31st in rebounds. They're 95th in assists, and they're 208th in field goal percentage. Okay? I've looked at the remaining games that they've got, and I'm going to go out on a limb right now, and I'm going to predict that their finishing record in the conference is going to be 7-11. I figure they're going to be 19-12. They're 13-4 right now. I'm giving them a win at DePaul. I don't think they're going to beat Marquette at Marquette. I don't think they're going to beat Pittsburgh at Pitt. I'm going to give them a win at Villanova. I'm giving them a loss at Seton Hall. They're not a road team at all. I'm going to give them a win at playing Rutgers. I'm going to give them a loss at UConn, at West Virginia. They're not going to beat Syracuse. There's no way they can match up to that talent. I'm going to give them a win at DePaul, and I think they can also beat Cincinnati.
So they would then make the tournament, I guess, right?
Well, I don't know.
19-12, maybe.
12?
Maybe.
Does a team 19-12 typically make the tournament?
I'll go ahead and say. Go ahead.
Typically, that's borderline
Yeah.
for 19-12, and especially if you're 7-11 in your conference. But they've got to improve big time, and they've got to improve, number one, in their field goal percentage and their points per game. They are ranked 208th in field goal percentage and 127th in points per game right now.
That's not good.
If you're going to be in the top 64, you better get them records looking a little bit better than where they're at now. Now they're great at rebounding, but I don't know if they're not playing cohesively as a team. And if I'm the opponent's coaches against Louisville and the game's on the line, I'm guarding Siva. I mean, it's pretty simple. And you know what? How are you supposed to build any teamwork if it's always in Siva's hand at the end of the game?
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree. Brother Mac, thanks for the call.
Thank you very much for the call, Brother Mac. You are a repeat caller. We really appreciate it. Building a very loyal fan base.
I'll tune in. I'm going to check back in with you guys, but mark my projection down 19-12. Overall, 7-11 in the conference, and we'll see where they end up. You guys take care.
You too. Thank you, Brother Mac.
Thanks a lot for the call.
I knew I've heard that name before. I think he called a few weeks ago. It's always good to get the repeat callers in here, but
definitely.
Yeah, it's right on what he was saying with the Pitino. I would say Pitino. I don't think he's on the hot seat right now. If they would have lost to Providence by 1 or 2, I don't think you would be hearing that from a lot of the fan base. They lost by 31. Yeah, Kentucky lost by 40 almost at Vanderbilt, I believe, a few seasons ago. Granted, it was Billy Gillespie. He was on the hot seat today. He was hired, but it's one of those things that just happens. Now, if he doesn't turn it around, maybe we'll be on a hot seat in a week or two.
Here's my question. In order for him to not be on, he's at least on a bit of a fan hot seat. Maybe not the official Jurich hot seat, but what does he have to do this season to get not on the hot seat? Does he just have to make the tournament? Is he going to have to win a game in the tournament?
Get out of the first round, in my opinion.
You got to get out of the first weekend if you're a Louisville fan, in my opinion. If I'm a Louisville fan, John, I'd like to introduce our newest addition to the show. I'm sorry, to get that out there. We got the Breakdown Lounge. It's a pretty sweet little concept Matt threw together. You got an old Bobby Petrino in the back, a young Rick Pitino. He's got, we won't go there.
Apparently a glass eye.
We got Danielle Chilton, of course, and John Hancock himself is always over there. John, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. I will have to say, I do think that Rick Pitino's on the hot seat. I've talked to a lot of fans this week, and after 10 years, we're tired of, or at least they are tired of hearing Rick Pitino's explanations. And we have the best stadium, and there's no reason why we should go into Providence playing that team and get out-rebounded and outscored. It's one thing to lose. It's another thing if you saw the game on Saturday, the team just quit. They were up, they were winning in the beginning, playing really well, and then they just quit. The heads were down. There was a lot of frustration. Nobody stepped up as a leader. It was, you have to put that on the players because they're playing the game, but you have to put that on the coaches as well. Oh
yeah.
And they're always going to be the one that you look at.
Yeah.
And so something has to change. We brought Rick Pitino in. We paid him that much of money so we can get a national championship.
I mean, yeah, but again, we
want banners.
Yeah, we're talking Louisville's loss to Providence the other night, 90-59 at Providence. It was an ugly game. They just, like John said, they wanted to play, and then they just quit. What I saw from the game was Gorgie Zhang. I've been hitting this every show, saying, and you all keep backing him up. Gorgie's this, Gorgie's that. But I've told you from day one that Gorgie's a good defender, but his offense is just there. And look, I mean, this is, I think, the second game in a row he had against Notre Dame, 11.7 rebounds in 27 minutes, fouled out, I believe. Against Providence, he had 4.2 rebounds in 18 minutes. Wow, what's up with the Gorgie?
Nobody played for Louisville other than maybe Elisha Justice. He looked to me like he brought it.
That's not
intensity-wise. Nobody did anything for Louisville. So you can narrow Gorky out as much as, point him out as much as you want. Nobody, I mean, it's like they just witnessed some horrible murder in the locker room, and they couldn't talk about it. And then they had to go out there, and nobody had any idea what happened. Patino, who's normally frantically pacing up and down the sideline, looked dejected. I mean, he looked different than I've ever seen him look, I think.
He didn't have his coconut water, whatever he drinks on the sideline.
It was something happened, in my opinion, that we don't know about. And it may not have actually been anything too substantial. It may have just been a lack of anybody carrying, or I don't know what it was. Maybe Patino ran him like Gillespie would in the middle of the day, like
I got it.
I've heard that he has
Maybe
done
put
in
him in a locker room or bathroom stall at halftime. You never know. But go ahead, Danielle.
Do you think he's being too hard on him? I mean, think about it. With all the injuries we've had this season for Louisville.
Did Danielle just say we?
I told you
I did
Danielle's
not say
Louisville fan.
we. I am
I
a
sent her
sympathizer.
to one game, and she's a fan.
That's what I said.
Okay, I was cheering for them in that game. I'm not even gonna lie. But
It's awesome.
I'm a sympathizer. I actually like Patino. I don't think he should be on a hot seat.
I don't think you could blame injuries on Patino.
Your question
No,
was...
I'm saying, but is he working them too hard?
No.
Is he too
he's
hard
done it.
on them?
He did it at UK.
I don't think
Yeah.
Rick
Different
ever
teams
changed.
are different teams. Different players.
just-
I mean, you've got
it's
to
just
learn how
bad
to
luck.
coach the players that you have. If these players can't be coached that way, then I mean,
But
should
who
he
are we?
adjust his system?
My only thing is this. Who am I to say, whoa, Rick Patino, you shouldn't be working them so hard after a January loss? If at the end of the season, the guys show up like that and they just get their asses handed to them every game and they go to the NIT and they look horrible, then maybe I'll sit back and reevaluate.
I got a question for John. What was Russ Smith during this Providence game?
And Notre Dame.
No,
Didn't
but
play.
here's the thing is, and that's the question. And there seems to be something that's happening off the court. It's the only explanation I can see is that Rick Pitino obviously sees something's happening off the court. Because even Chris Smith said after the Notre Dame game, there's a lot of people that are worried about what other people are saying and not listening to the coaches. That's what he said.
Like Siva's dad saying,
And Kevin
the Devils
Ware's dad.
in his
First of all,
head.
that was Kevin Ware's dad.
Kevin Ware's...
No, Siva's dad was
Siva's
first
dad
with the
said
devil.
the Devil's in his head.
That's
And then it was Kevin Ware's
that's not
dad.
significant. in my
That's not
opinion.
here or there. But
And he could
I think it's
personally
pretty
be
significant.
How's that significant?
it's kind of like
the
Danielle
devil
saying,
is anything negative. It's what he means from it.
I'm just
in my
kind of like
opinion,
John
But
saying
it's one
losing
thing-
the belt
it's one
bolt
thing
didn't
to be
really
sitting
matter.
if you're Peyton Siva and you've got your dad saying, "Oh, the devil's making you play bad basketball," you just say, "Okay, Dad, that's fine." But when he puts it out there, and then the media is all talking about it, saying, "Oh, what's wrong with Peyton Siva? Why is he saying this? Why would he say that? What does that mean?" That changes things when you've got that heat on you based on that.
I'm thinking of what Peyton Siva Sr. was thinking when he said that. He may have been saying anything that negative happens and you allow negativity to enter your life, maybe that is somewhat allowing the devil to come into you. Who knows what he meant by it?
Who
No,
knows?
I agree with
Some-
you
some
there.
weird
But when you
take on
put
it,
it out
but-
there on Facebook, the media gets it.
True.
You go there, it's going to add in more heat from everyone else who's going to misconstrue the words,
I-
and then everyone's
Not to
saying
cut
what's
this
going on with
awesome
Siva.
topic off, but we are going to go to our first break real quick. Just so everybody knows, we do have a call-in line. It's 502-265-5211. We'd love to hear from Louisville fans, Kentucky fans, any thoughts you all have about this week, last week, the week before. What's going on in the sports? I mean, Louisville's football commitments, we're going to get on that. And, of course, 7:30, 7:35, we'll be having UK great Derek Anderson on. So we'll be right back.
Keep you in the dark, you know they are.
Bitch, Rack City, 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 bitch, 10, 20s and the 50s, bitch. I'm a motherfucking star.
Welcome back to the Bluegrass Breakdown radio show.
Well, we are hood.
We are hood.
Matt just totally went a total route, a different route than what we always do is this one.
Little bit of a curveball.
You know what happens. The Eastern Kentucky crowd enjoys it.
They're all into it.
But we'd like to just get out there again to call in line. If you want to give us a little of your own business, 502-265-5211. John Hancock would love to hear from you wearing the same hoodie for the fourth show in a row. Just give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. And, of course, Derek Anderson, 7:30, 7:35. Should be a fun segment with him.
We do ask that if you do call in, you do your homework like Brother Mac obviously did.
Yeah,
You bring it with some stats. If you're not Derek Anderson, we'll allow you to be on the show. Do your homework. Bring it.
And you'll get your time. You saw Brother Mac. He had 5 good minutes with Brother Mac, right?
He
You
got
get
his
your
time.
We let you be the voice of KentuckySports.co instead of us. You don't want to listen to us. No, I don't want to.
No one wants to listen to Tyler.
Nobody wants to listen to any of us.
Exactly.
That's why we bring the guests on and let them do the talking. Anyways, before we got a few minutes, Kentucky, they had a couple games this week. started SEC play at South Carolina, or home against South Carolina. Took them out 79-64. Terrence Jones decided to play for the first time in 4 or 5 weeks. Granted, he did have a finger injury, which did set him back. But before the injury, the Indiana game, he just wasn't him. He had 20 points, 3 rebounds. He was running up and down. He kind of seemed like himself. Anthony Davis continued with his double-double and rampages. He had 12, 10, and 7 blocks. I mean, he's going to break the freshman block record for Kentucky. He's going to, if he stayed around for 4 years, it'd be outrageous, but he's not going to. But anyways, Kentucky handled South Carolina. Danielle, did you catch that game?
Which one?
South Carolina game?
No.
Oh, you were at the Louisville game. That's right.
The only thing
I forgot about that.
On ESPN3 from Yum Center, but the connection was not very good, considering it's a brand new arena.
Why are you looking at me? I have nothing to do with that.
The best arena, John.
No, a lot of people have complained.
Now, what I heard was the Freedom Hall.
I could have done it at Rupp, but I didn't do it.
My brother actually wrote an article about how the connection in the Yum isn't very good.
It's horrible. It's a big building. You got a lot of frequencies rolling through there. It's tough to work with, right?
Either way, I
a lot
saw
of big buildings.
Very staggered bits at the beginning. One of which the staggered would see once every 5 seconds. I'd see a second of play every 5 seconds, and I did see. I was like dribble, dribble. Anthony Davis swat, dribble, dribble, and I was like, okay, I'm done. I'll just read about it later.
I'll get back to the Louisville game. I got to get back to what
that was fun.
My heart dives into, Danielle. But yeah, Kentucky handled South Carolina, 1-0 in SEC.
That's all we won.
Then they played Auburn last night, their first official road win of the season. A lot of people were wondering, no, they beat Kansas. They beat somebody else, Penn State or somebody on the
Penn State.
Those are neutral court games.
Okay.
So same with the Freedom Hall game, that's a neutral court. So this is their first official win. They were losing with 11 minutes to go, 47-45, which was interesting. Did you watch any of this game?
I did, yeah.
You did?
Yep.
What was your take on the first half? And, most of the second half.
Cal is officially over 500 for his record on the road.
Yes, he is.
While he's with Kentucky. It's a good thing. Better than under.
Yep.
Auburn didn't look that bad, I guess, did they? They got some athletes.
Their number one scorer, I believe it was Gabriel. I believe this is his last name. Kenny Gabriel.
Yeah,
he didn't even score till the second half. They packed it out for the first time since their new arena opened. It's a beautiful arena. It's only $86 million. I know it's nothing on the $237 million Palace downtown, John. But he's not even listening over there, texting away.
It's not. Do you think that the
Auburn's
arena
I like it. It's a nice arena for a 9 million capacity.
Let's not compare it to the Yum Center.
I'm not comparing. I'm saying they packed it out. They tried to bring it to 6-man. But it was a fun game. Kentucky pulled it out because we're just better than you.
Just because you're just better than Auburn.
Just better than Auburn.
Auburn.
Just
I can't believe you're not mentioning.
Providence.
I can't believe you're not mentioning the big story from the game.
What, Marcus Teague ball tagged that dude on the jump shot?
No, the guy who has the last
That's the
name.
story.
What's his name?
Oh,
Chubb.
Rob Chubb.
He played good. He had a good game.
I think Rob Chubb was
6'10".
trending on Twitter at one point nationally.
Trying to remember what. There was a really good
there was
trend
too
on
many
Twitter.
Chubb jokes. We can't even go there.
Oh, you can go a lot of different
I
directions.
can go there.
I know. If you want to check out the post game, Chubb came out hot, but went cold. But Kentucky beat Auburn. John, did you watch any of this Kentucky game? Because I didn't think you did. I wasn't gonna ready to get into that with you.
I tell you all the time, I have 3 channels, and none of them play.
No, this was on
games are
This was on one of them, I bet.
Yeah, no.
No, it was
I don't have that one. No, it was on.
No, it wasn't.
It was on Wave 3.
No, it was on Wave 3. Yeah.
You don't have Wave 3?
No, I know.
Wow,
right?
what are you gonna do if the tornado hits? I'll hit you up.
You won't know about it.
We'll let you know, John. We'll get you.
I'm good.
But Kelly, Kentucky beat Auburn 68-53. Awesome. Tony Barbee's the coach of Auburn. Did you know he played for Calipari at UMass?
I heard him talking about that.
1,600 plus points. That's outrageous.
Wow.
That's a lot of points for. Somebody. I didn't know too much about Tony Barbee until last night, and that was pretty cool little stat to learn.
Definitely.
A player versus coach. Patino's doing that. It seems like every game Patino's facing one of his, I guess, prodigies at one point. So it's a cool little thing.
It is, yeah. I like hearing stats like that. Wyking Jones, I forget how many points he scored at Loyola Marymount.
Right. Yeah.
It's neat to hear players who are very successful and then go on to be great coaches. Doesn't happen, or at least coaches on the Division I level. Doesn't really happen that much.
Yeah, Steve Masiello, he's struggling.
You have guys like Masiello, who was dominant at UK.
I did forget this. I want to get to this. It was during the South Carolina game. The halftime shot, Matt. Do we have this video? Okay. Kroger set up a halftime shot for $10,000. If he hit it, pocket to cash, I guess. I don't know if it's straight money or maybe a scholarship thing, but
It was cash, except you're gonna be taxed.
but Matt Jones acted like they weren't going to pay him. Kroger was going to pay. I mean, they was just trying to get more publicity to him. But you ready for that video, Matt? Here we go. What's his name? Vincent. All right, well, referee guy just knocked down a half-court shot for $10,000. That's unbelievable. I mean, you don't see that much. It's, every game they're doing something, halftime stuff like that. Not Kentucky games, but throughout the Northern, you don't see that much.
No, you don't see him make it that much.
But $10,000 is
that's
sweet.
impressive.
I would have took it, hitting a little half-court.
Yeah, he's what was he, a freshman or sophomore at UK? So
Vincent.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money,
freshman
even if it's
for-
5,000 after taxes, which is probably like $7,000.
He would have done it for $100. I'm sure.
I would have done it for a free
In
pizza.
college?
Free
Wow.
Papa John
Ramen
pizza.
noodles. I'd do it for ramen noodles when I was in college.
For anything, just to step out a half-court shot,
Yeah, I
and
would've been-
hit it in
done it.
front of the crowd. You got.
I would have paid $10 to do it.
Back
So-
when I was in
but
college,
why-
I would have knocked over an old lady.
What
for
does
that.
Matt Jones
5.
care?
He just wanted some pub.
It's because
just
the
like his
reason
little Twitter battle last night.
Can
with
I
Kyle
ask you a
Tucker,
question, Tyler?
Matt Jones this,
Tyler
Matt Jones
Daniel,
that. He
can I ask
owes
you a
me.
question?
Yeah, you can ask me a question, but I just want to rant for a second.
Okay,
I
Rick.
want my tip. I still want it. I'm gonna be bitter till I go. I want my tip.
I can tell.
Kelly and I, we had a conversation last week. We were talking about how, Mike Rutherford, great U of L blogger.
Great
We
guy.
have a lot of
Great.
great U of L bloggers in the city of Louisville.
Couple
Kentucky bloggers suck. Not you two, but
Thanks.
but your most representative person is Matt
It's
Jones.
just because there's
That's
3,000 of us.
That's true.
Matt Jones is your best blog.
You got Nick Coffey.
I'd say Beesner's the best UK blogger.
no. If
Yes, thank you.
That's my opinion.
Thomas Beasley
Matt
has
Jones is
got-
the
He's the
most
most-
well known.
he's the most well known. When you say
I will go look at
sports
Eric
blog-
Lindsay's
Yeah, if he-
blogs off of CoachCal.com before I'll go to Matt Jones's.
But I'm just saying, when most people
Matt
look
Jones
at Matt
definitely
Jones.
the most famous.
Most people go to
blogger.
Matt Jones for. I just wonder, what is the deal? How come Matt
He's
Jones?
a dookie. Let's just end it at that.
Every UK fan says that, but yet everybody says it, just like you just did a second ago.
John,
Matt
he's a dookie.
Jones said the other day, and you take it as gospel. I'm just saying.
I don't think anybody's thinking it as gospel.
I'm just saying you
It's-
take it
it's
as
the most
truth.
out there.
You
It's
take
the
it as
most
truth.
out there.
He's successful.
And
I
Matt
mean,
Jones
you showed
is
me.
successful
Very
because
successful. I'm not
he
hating on his
blows
success.
What-
Congrats to
what
that.
blog do UK fans look at the most and get the most ridiculous?
KentuckySports.co.
Other than KentuckySports.co.
And that's why Kentucky fans aren't very educated
does
in their
the
sports.
Oh,
posting?
shut up, John. You are
Close.
outrageous. Just the guy who said the belt boys in the belt bowl doesn't matter.
Who does-
It's
First of all, I
talking
didn't
about
say
being
that.
educated.
No.
I'm going to have to cut us off
Guys.
because we have to go to our break. We have to get Derek Anderson on the line because that's the only reason anybody's listening right now. They don't want to hear us talk. So,
The only reason I'm
again,
here.
we're going to take a quick break, maybe 2 minutes, get Derek back, and we'll be right back. We're going to break the radio show.
Right back.
Welcome back to the Bluegrass Breakdown radio show. We've had a fun first half of the hour, but it gets a lot better now as we have a special guest on, former Kentucky great Derek Anderson. Derek, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing well. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. This is Tyler Bloyd. You got Kelly Patrick to my left, and out in our newly found lounge, we have Danielle Chilton, a big-time Kentucky fan. I think she's in love with you. And we also have John Hancock, our other local blogger, just to get them out there. But I guess we'll just jump straight to it. I know you have a book coming out. It's called "What's the Odds?" Would you just tell everybody listening a little bit about this?
Basically, it was showing how I grew up. I grew up in Southwick, in inner city in Louisville, Kentucky, and basically, I was talking to some of my friends. I was doing speeches, and even was with Will Smith, some of those guys, and I was telling them about my life story. And everyone said it'd be a good idea that I basically show the character side that made me mature to the man that I am today. So it shows when I was 12 years old, I was homeless. I was in a homeless shelter. I didn't even go to 8th grade graduation. Family was gone. I didn't see my mother for 8 years, and I didn't see my father for 16 years. And we lived in the same city, and they never saw me play a basketball game. So a lot of kids make excuses for the way they grew up. I even had a child at 14 and had to pay child support, so I was having a job while I was leaving basketball practice. And a lot of people didn't get to see me grow up because I was always playing basketball or working. And these kids nowadays are complaining about one job. So I just wanted to share the world and trying to help some people, help kids have that motivation that they can make it. And I wound up making over $70 million from being homeless all in 12 years. So
Wow.
that's a turning point for any kid to believe they can make it.
Oh yeah, that's actually an awesome story. When will the book come out?
I'm sure looking at March. We're going to start doing our tours in March. And I'm going to all the NBA cities, all the clinics, churches. We're going to jails. We're going to the high schools, middle schools. Because usually when you go through those things, it's through a trying time, is when you have to make a decision of your own. And a lot of these kids don't want to make those decisions.
Oh yeah, for sure. You going around all the NBA cities? Everybody, obviously, you played your NBA for 11 years or so, 12 years. Are you going to be doing maybe a little barnstorming tour around the state?
Yeah, I'm doing that through Kentucky, definitely. I think a lot of the fans also wanted to know how I made it. And I think a lot of people tell their story, but no one gives an actual blueprint. Like, I used to go into restaurants who had free bread and water, and I would go in there so I didn't have to steal, and I would just act like I was in there waiting on somebody to come eat, and then I'd say, I'm not fine, so they couldn't charge me for free stuff.
Wow. Yeah, people still do that. I was been a server, and I mean, fine with me.
Not at the age of 12 and 13, you don't.
No, that's a very good point. You went to Doss High School, right?
Yeah.
And I'm assuming you were all state. I do know that. Were you in Mr. Kentucky that year, or?
Actually, I was runner up to Tick Rogers. I didn't sign with Louisville, and they waited till the judging came out, and then I signed with Ohio State, and they gave it to Tick Rogers.
That's right. Well,
yeah, everybody was complaining about why they waited.
Derek, this is Kelly Patrick. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, Kelly.
Yeah, we certainly appreciate you coming on the show. Being that we cover all sports within the state, you certainly are right up our alley with being from Louisville. And one of the things that I think of is, like you said, you did go to Ohio State first, and you got a little bit of taste of the culture up there. And then you got to come back and see what you already knew of the culture of basketball in the state of Kentucky. You have anything to say about the difference between the two, how they treat basketball in Ohio versus Kentucky?
Well, actually, I went up there in Ohio State and won 2 back-to-back Big Ten titles with Jim Jackson and all those guys. So they was actually treating us kind of fair. And until the second year, we didn't win it, and you could see how the football team. But no, Ohio State treated their players great. But when you come down to Louisville, Kentucky, it was like you didn't even know they had football teams half the time. Until the rivalry kicked back on. But other than that, it was kind of the same. But Kentucky is basically just the heart, the bread of soul of basketball, and there's always been known for that. Everywhere I go now, I still hear people tell me today. I got an email. A guy said, "I remembered you at UK," and he's a friend of Andre Riddick. I'm like, wow, that was like 16 years ago, and that's what they remember you by, not the 11-year NBA career, but more of Kentucky. So that shows you the difference.
It's definitely good stuff. I think Jimmy Jackson had a nice little NBA career also. I think he's from Dayton, Ohio, I believe.
Toledo,
okay. Up there, though. So, another thing, I think if I remember correctly, you were involved with Michael Jordan when he got his brand kind of going. Is that right? You were involved with promoting the Jordan brand at the beginning?
Well, actually, his agent called me and told me to come to a meeting in Portland. I was trying out for teams, and he came, and I walked in the office, never met him, never talked to him, and he told me he wanted me to wear a shoe. You talking about happy? And I was the first guy he signed. All of college, straight out of college, only college player, and the rest of the guys in the NBA. And I signed a lifelong contract with him.
Yeah, I was reading.
Still get shoes and clothes now.
Yeah, that's always nice. The Jordan brand is a popular one around here in the area for any kind of basketball athlete. But I know you got drafted 13th, and then that happened with the Jordan. Your NBA championship in 2005. It was at the Heat. I think with the Shaq, Dwayne Wade. How was that?
That was fun, man. Everyone asked me, but I think it was the pinnacle of my career because I could retire a champion. I won at every level. I won a championship, but it was great just being around them guys. Like I said, winning a championship, but Kentucky was still my biggest shining moment in basketball. We did it as a family. It wasn't money involved. It wasn't politics. It wasn't anything. It was strictly family. So being around, superstars like that, it was good. But I still love the game at that point, and I've always wanted to love it as a team. But it was hard to do sometimes. A lot of guys is individual and selfish, but sometimes you get in a position you can win, and you just take it for what it was.
Coming back to the current day of the college basketball here in the state, how would you compare the talent level that Cal has at Kentucky now to, say, for instance, the squads that you were involved with Pitino at UK?
It's difficult. Those guys are talented, but they would probably be on our third team and our team. I mean, you just look at their talent and look how they develop. They might develop a little slower, but they're young. You know, our talent, you look at it even nowadays, it's like all the guys we had coming out, we could all left out of high school too. But we all wind up staying because we wanted to get better. We wanted to win. I mean, you look at Ron Mercer, he was built like a brick. And you look at some of these young guys, they have no muscle definition at all. They're just talented. And I think that's the biggest key is these guys don't have time to mature and develop as much as they are talented. They just don't have that mental capacity as we did. So it's hard to compare, but yet again, they're talented. We stayed longer and we stayed there to gain the knowledge of the game. So I think we were just different as far as experience.
What do you think about after losing to Providence the other night by 31? Pitino's getting a lot of local criticism here in the state by the local media and a lot of the fans. What do you think's going on with Pitino? I mean, do you think he's maybe out of touch with the current player, or what do you think the deal is there?
I'm not sure. I'm not inside there, but I know one thing: he knows how to coach. So I can't say that that's part of it. I just think more or less some of the guys aren't motivated. Some of the guys are kind of frustrated. Like we've known Coach Pitino to yell at every single player on our team, but yet we still played the game once we were out there. So to me, it's the guy that's on the floor. He can't make you make a shot. You know, even though he's coaching it, he's playing you guys. You have to perform, and that's what we went upon and said, you know what? This we have to do. So I'm not sure how the relationship is with inside the gyms or practice, but I've never seen a team like his ever get beat that bad.
Yeah,
I really can't make it.
I was going to put it together. I think one of the last times I can actually remember Pitino maybe being down that much was possibly to LSU in the early '90s. Obviously, they came back to huge comeback second half. You being a former player for Pitino, if that was you guys in that situation, what would you all have had to do to fight back? And they've lost 3 out of 4 games now.
It's hard to say. We never was in that situation. Like I didn't play on that team. We down 31. I came in the '96 and we beat everybody by 30. So I don't know that feeling. Like I've never been down more than 5 points. I think in a Kentucky uniform. So I have no idea how that feels.
That's
I don't know.
Actually outrageous. I was listening to
probably true.
I know.
That was a ridiculous team. I mean,
oh yeah, it was 96, 97, 98. Should have been a three-peat. I was listening to your interview. I believe it was in Nation of Blue, and you all kind of hit on the 97, the game, and you were saying that you, to this day, you wish you could have played, you would have played, but obviously, it was looking at your NBA career in the long run. That just had to be a little hard thing to sit and watch your team lose in that game.
It was. That was all I lived for at the moment. Like I said, I didn't live past the moment. I wasn't worried about the NBA. I wanted to play that game. That would have been my shine. If I would have never played again and we won it, I would have been fine. I felt like the Kentucky family had our support. We deserved it. We worked hard for it. And it was a shame that, we couldn't do it. But I love Coach Pitino for not playing because I still had a great NBA life and a good career. And he gave me that opportunity. He wasn't being selfish, and I respect him and love him for it. But if it was up to me, I would have played. We'd have won 3 in a row. We'd have had a dynasty. They wouldn't have questioned if we was the best college in the country, in the world.
Oh yeah, I mean we still are the best college in the world, so you don't have to worry about that. But again, we have Derek Anderson on the line, Kentucky great. He has a website, it's DerekAndersonFoundation.com. Get on there and check that out, and also a book coming out sometime in March. It's What's the Odds? A little life story of himself. So get that. And before you do go, everybody watching the show is going to be able to take a little look at you back in the game in Freedom Hall dunking all over Nate Johnson. I mean, that's my favorite video as a Kentucky fan. I mean, I know you have to remember it like it was yesterday.
Yeah, I do. It's going to be in my book why I didn't go to Louisville. A lot of people don't know why I didn't go to Louisville, but it'll be in my book when I explain the whole story of why I didn't go to the school I dreamed about going to it since I was a kid. So
in the book, you discuss why you didn't go to Louisville, huh?
Yep, it'll tell you the whole storyline. It'll make sense. You'll all be like, "Wow."
Want to give us any little hints on it now, or drop any hints for us?
Nah, I'm just glad I went to UK now.
I hear that. Well, Derek, we really do appreciate you coming on, Derek. It's been a fun interview. We'd like to get you on maybe down the road. Have you on again.
Okay, sounds good. I'll be here for you guys. I look forward to talking to you.
All right, thanks, Derek.
Thank you very much, Derek.
Okay.
Give a great interview with Derek Anderson. We always have great interviews.
Yeah.
I really just kind of going with it. He was one of my favorite. As Danielle, I was kind of in Danielle's shoes. I was just going with it as one of he was possibly my favorite player with Mashburn growing up as a Kentucky fan. Still is. So it was kind of like one of those, this is awesome kind of things.
He's a great, very well spoken.
Like you talking to Zach Price? I mean, that's awesome.
Kind of like you talking to Derek Anderson. Yep.
Exactly.
I see it.
Like John talking to BJ Flynn.
I tried to get some.
I love, if we could have BJ Flynn, I love BJ Flynn. I can talk to BJ Flynn all day long.
Flynn fan. I knew it.
Huge.
We need to get Tick Rogers on here to,
talk about his Mr. Kentucky.
Does he feel like he deserved it? That's a question.
It's a good question. It would be interesting
Tick had
to find out.
a nice career.
I guess
for Louisville. No, he didn't make $70 million.
I guess we'll go ahead and take a quick little break. We'll be back in just a moment. But again, we'd like to thank Derek Anderson for coming on.
Great guest, great interview. That was amazing.
Amazing. It was just kind of one of those surreal things. But again, if you have any thoughts, we got about 15 minutes to go. When we get back from break, give us a call. It's 502-265-5211. We'd love to hear from you, Cardinal fans and little Kentucky fans.
When she was just a girl.
We're back here at the Bluegrass Breakdown radio show. We just had a great interview with Kentucky legend, NBA All-Star, World Champion, Olympic gold medalist, Derek Anderson. Hell of an interview. Definitely will get him back on here again. It's been a fun show. We got, of course, our Breakdown Lounge newly added to get John Hancock and Danielle Chilton over there in the mix. Of course, you're with myself and my man Kelly Patrick over here. It's been a fun show. Just a note quickly for UK before we hit on Louisville's football that John has been sweating over there to get to. Anthony Bennett has listed his final five. Kentucky is in there with Washington, Florida, Oregon, and UNLV. I really see none of these teams except for UNLV standing out to him, considering Kent Birch just went to UNLV, kind of a hot spot now out in Vegas, so maybe look at him going there. And Jamal Mashburn, talk about entrepreneur Derek Anderson. Jamal Mashburn wants to buy the Hornets. You wrote the piece about this on our site the other day. Mm-hmm. You want to just hit that real quick?
Mashburn's done everything that an NBA player, as it sounds, Derek Anderson has also. Is that they've made a lot of money, but they've done intelligent things with it, and we are not hearing stories about them going bankrupt, and instead we're hearing stories about them thriving. And there's been a couple pieces out there, and David Stern seems very receptive to Jamal Mashburn being involved with the NBA and possibly even buying the Hornets and having a positive impact on the league. And it seems to me like that would be a good fit.
I mean, Jamal Mashburn, he's been around this type of stuff. He has 30 Outbacks, 37 Papa John's, 2 cars. He has everything. 2 car dealerships, a real estate company here in Kentucky. Why not? He's a good choice for the NBA, for a good guy to buy the Hornets.
He was the first All-Star for the Hornets franchise.
And again, one of my second, him and Derek Anderson right there, left and right, and one of my favorite Kentucky players of all time. So maybe we'll be seeing a former Cat own an NBA team here soon.
Jamal Mashburn was along with Jason Kidd and Jimmy Jackson, who Derek Anderson just mentioned, part of the 3 J's for the Mavericks. But I think John's itching to talk a little
Cardinal football,
right, John?
John,
recruiting?
Give us something, John. Tell us what happened over the last week.
Basketball season.
No, it's you're right. I know that Kentucky fans don't really care, but we like a lot of different sports, like soccer, who we had four.
We like cheerleading.
4 soccer players today got drafted for MLS.
Who cares?
There you go.
I played soccer in college. It means nothing.
You're nothing.
You didn't get paid for it.
I hope nobody did. I hope. Are you saying? Hold on. He's saying. Are you saying Louisville soccer players got paid to play in college?
The 4 who were drafted today. Yes.
To MLS,
I was just.
He just like this. And then Nick Dawson, Keith Brown, both committed to Louisville during the Army All-American Bowl, which was, and they did it in a 5-minute span. It was Nick Dawson said, I want to go to Louisville, and then Keith Brown comes and he says, I want to go to Louisville. A very exciting 5 minutes for Louisville football recruiting. Shows that Charlie Strong is still on it. And then
You hope so. He just got there.
Well, he continues to out-recruit and
Everybody.
So some great college. These aren't like small colleges like Crackthorpe used to try to fight over Appalachian State recruits. We're talking about Clemson, Florida, Miami, Florida State.
It reminds me of Doran Lamb during the Jordan game committing. What, Danielle?
I'm just making fun of the way you can't pronounce
it
Duran.
comes out different every time. Anyways, Duran, I don't care what it is. Anyways, he committed during the Jordan Classic game on TV.
National TV.
National TV, just
It's big.
It's big.
Yeah.
It's fun for the fan base.
It's huge. And then a couple days ago, Matt Milton was with the Tennessee Vols, is going to transfer to Louisville. There could be a chance that he's going to play this year because it's a hardship transfer.
Which would be good.
He wants to be closer to family who live in Illinois, so it's instead of being 8.5, hours away, he'd be 4.5.
Why not go to Illinois though, John? If you're
Because
big, is it that big of a hardship?
It's a hardship.
I mean,
Yeah,
you got
transfer to
football
Illinois.
Monday through Sunday. I mean, it's hardship in
Because-
4 hours and a half.
well,
away.
Are you
first of all,
making
it's
fun
a
of his
brand new-
No, I'm not. I
misfortunes?
think it's a great thing. I have
It's
no
a
problem
brand
with
new
it.
college. Illinois just got a brand new coach. So, I'm just saying,
Yeah.
I would want to go to Charlie's.
I'd rather play against the Big East schedule than the Big Ten.
Yeah, we wouldn't. I mean, you got San Diego State
I
on the
would. You can
schedule.
play in the same bowls.
You got the weakest schedule in the nation. Of course, you want to win. Play somebody. You got to play Boise State and half-ass Kentucky team.
Don't act like you know anything or care.
I know
anything
enough
about
about the Big East, and that's all I need to know. Is that the Big East football is not good, John.
It's SEC basketball, Tyler.
I know that
No,
Big East football
don't
is
even
terrible, and I
compare.
feel sorry
the
for
S-
Louisville.
and first off, if you want to talk about this, the Big East basketball is way down. Syracuse,
What's
they're
that
not
mean?
number one. They're top 5. Syracuse, definitely top 5 team. They're a great team.
What?
I just said they're a top 5 team. What do you else want me to say? Kentucky's top 5. Ohio
What is
State's
I
top
guess,
5.
I guess in that Louisville was in the top 5 like 2 weeks ago.
What's saying?
What's Syracuse ranked?
Number 1.
Yeah.
I just said they're a top 5 team. As
They're a good
Kentucky
team.
Well,
is.
how about we refer to them as the undefeated number one team in
They
the
haven't
country?
played a single good team yet. They played Marquette and beat them by 20 last night. Who cares? What I'm saying is Big East is officially not the number 1 conference in the past
Who
8
is?
years.
Who is?
I will tell you the Big 10 is better
Big
than them.
Big 12 too.
The Big 12 is better than them.
Basketball.
Yes, basketball.
Okay.
Who cares? It's a conference. It's not a big deal.
Who's
And
how?
You just that just got off.
How's Big 10 or Big 12 better in basketball?
Well, the Big East has one top 10 team, Syracuse number 1, and then look, you got Louisville 3 or 4 losses in a row. Pittsburgh, they were ranked number preseason top 10. They lost 5 in a row.
And
You
Pitt
got
looked
Marquette,
awful
way
last
overrated
night.
Marquette team. The Big East, Seton Hall might be the second best team in your conference.
Evaluated top to bottom. Who's
It's
the best
good.
conference?
I'm not making fun of Big East. I was just saying you made me mad when you try to compare your Big East
You're
football
making
to the
comments
SEC
and
basketball.
statements that have
Totally
no
SEC's
actual
gonna get
backbone.
5 or 6 teams in the tournament. This
That's okay. You can say
5 or
Pitt's
6 teams
playing
in the
horrible.
They're
They
god
are.
awful.
Louisville's playing horrible. They are. There's a lot of teams in the Big
Not
East.
good.
They're
the
not going
best
to be the
conference
11
out there.
bid.
They're not going to be the
conference this year.
8 bid
They're
conference.
not.
They don't
No.
have to be the best conference in the country.
You're not the best conference. John didn't say a word because he knows it.
Who's
He
the best-
agreed with me last night. John actually agreed with me that
Right now,
Louisville is terrible last night.
I watched a lot of Big East basketball, and right now it's down. Is it?
It's
but
down, yeah.
It's down. But
It's not a big deal.
I
Who
would
cares?
say-
It's about your team.
I would say coaching wise
I'm not-
and player wise, you could say that Big East has the most talent and the best coaches.
Big East
So
has
you're
the
just
best
saying just
coaches,
'cause they
no
have
doubt. I'm
good-
not fighting
But
that.
right
Big
now,
East has
they're
coaches.
playing bad basketball, and
Terrible
it's
basketball.
there's nothing.
Terrible basketball, Tyler.
I mean, if you look at your top
A
teams,
few teams are down. Few teams are down.
Your top teams, Pittsburgh, they're terrible.
Syracuse.
You keep hitting on the one team. That's
Usually,
good.
but
I said
Kelly,
they're good.
I mean, I'm all
Georgetown?
about
I
I'm all about defending the Big East. But you have
UConn?
Notre Dame, who's usually a great team, and they're not really that good a team. They beat us, but they're really not that
They
good
can't
a team.
score either.
They're very, very small.
Villanova, of usual power,
Providence
was way
is not
down.
a very
Let's
good
look at SEC.
Let's look at it.
Let's look at it. How much better is that than the Big East?
No, they're
I'm
not
sorry?
better. We're not
never
fighting.
So what are y'all fired up over?
You-
Who's
I'm
better
fired
than the
up
Big
that
East
you compare
basketball?
Big East football, your all terrible upcoming big country conference, to the SEC basketball.
And what's
SEC
different
basketball
about it?
We're better. You all got mid majors coming into a big power conference. We're an established conference. Come on, you're ridiculous.
With the BCS bid.
Anyways,
If that even exists.
But anyway,
we got a
back
couple
to
minutes
Matt
left.
Milton.
I want to hit Murray State, which real quick. We got a
Hit
few
it.
minutes left. We got to get Murray State is the second best team in the state right now. They're ranked number 14, ahead of Louisville. 14, 15, whatever poll you would go by. Louisville's switching. They're 16-0, 4-0 in the Hall Valley Conference. They beat Memphis at Memphis, who Louisville beat at home. Memphis is still a good team in my opinion. They're just one of those guys. They're just never going to play well together. And they got a beast of a player, Isaiah Cannon, 18, 3 rebounds, 4 assists. He's leading Murray State to what it could be an undefeated season going to the tournament. Have you all caught any of their games? I watched the Austin P game. No, John, I know you didn't. You got 3 channels. You watch sports all the time. Did you catch it?
No.
I don't even want to watch
I'm too
it.
busy being in the Yum
Austin
Center.
P kept it
I've
close,
seen
but
some highlights.
Murray State is an athletic team. They do remind me of the Moorhead team last year. They don't have the type of player as Fareed does. Isaiah Cannon's totally opposite of Fareed, but they're well coached and they're a good team. I wouldn't be surprised if they knock somebody off, maybe even 2 teams like a Western did a few years ago in the tournament. So if you got a chance, check them out. They I think they play Eastern again coming up here soon. Another in-state battle. So again, the Murray State Racers 16-0. And one of my favorite things and Kelly's favorite things, baseball. I know it's far from the season. John hates baseball, but
It was me who texted
Let's just
you.
knock the whole entire
Kelly,
Bluegrass Lounge
No,
out of
Kelly,
it with
who
baseball.
texted you and said, "Hey, Barry Larkin"?
Yeah,
Barry-
John
It
was all over
me.
that.
I was on
Barry
it
Larkin
before.
inducted in the Hall of Fame. He's one of my all-time favorite
His
Reds.
brother played for Xavier basketball.
I don't care.
Who
His-
cares about Xavier?
yeah,
He
exactly.
does play-by-play.
Exactly.
for
So
Xavier.
He does,
Larkin,
yeah, he's color
congrats to
commentator.
Barry. Did you catch this? I was watching ESPN earlier. I did not know this. Brett Favre's brother has been in jail for manslaughter for years.
I think
Really?
I did know that. I think I did
I
know
had
that.
no idea.
He has a sister
Who'd he
who's caused
kill?
quite
His
the
best
trouble
friend.
also.
Speaking
Drunk
of
driving.
sisters, can we?
Huh.
I know it's in everybody here. Did you guys
Yeah.
see Chris
Yes,
Smith?
okay.
That's impressive.
Chris Smith's sister is choking people in China.
Yeah.
Good times.
Yeah.
Although
What?
the Chinese media said it was an 80-year-old woman. If you look at the thing, the lady doesn't look
Why is
80 years
she-
old.
Chinese people age very well.
Silly communists. But it's the same team. It's the same. I said it. Communists are
John.
stupid. Why is that a big deal, Danielle?
Hey, this
Are
is-
you a commie?
This is KentuckySports.co, John.
Let's get
Yeah.
this all out in the air.
We don't have time. We'll get that. That's next.
That's
number
next
one
week.
topic.
We'll talk
What
about
we did.
socialism.
But speaking of next week, we have Tony Williams.
Yep.
Former
Huge.
card.
Former
he's,
card.
He's AAU
Louisville Magic.
assistant of the Louisville Magic.
From
with
Louisville.
Ellis Miles.
From Louisville.
And he also he's really excited. He started blogging.
He's an
You know, he's a
excellent
black guy.
writer because he's a Louisville writer for the CardinalSportsZone.com.
All Louisville
He
writers
just
are
did
great.
a great article on Denny Crum. You should check it out. He did an interview with Denny Crum. He's using
Denny's not happy, by the way.
Well, Denny Crum's a good guy. So,
Upcoming schedule for your Cardinals, John. You got DePaul and the Marquette. What do you think, real quick?
I think we'll beat DePaul Marquette at Marquette. It always sucks to play at Marquette, but you never know. I'm hoping that Louisville wakes up. But if we play like we have been, and the team is down, I'll be the first one to throw them out the window and say there's no way we're gonna
True
win.
fans throw your team out
If
the
we
bus.
continue
Danielle,
to play like that.
upcoming
If
schedule.
we play
for
like we
Kentucky.
played 2 nights ago, there's
I mean, you all
couldn't
suck,
beat a
so
high
You
school
probably
team.
will. Anyways, Danielle, Kentucky's up for schedule this Saturday, Tennessee, and then they got Arkansas. What do you think?
They'll beat Tennessee by 12. They'll beat Arkansas by 23.
I will take that. It's been a fun show. I'd like to thank John Hancock, my favorite Louisville blogger, Danielle Chilton, my
That means a lot.
favorite Kentucky blogger, and of course my best friend
thanks.
Kelly Patrick over here. Matt, we haven't talked to you much the past couple shows. You can't hear me, but thank you to Matt for doing all the great producing work, and big thanks to Derek Anderson.
huge
Thanks, Derek.
for Derek Anderson to come on.
Making my evening.
Yeah, check him out. He's got DerekAndersonFoundation.com, and he's got his book coming out here in a few months. What's the Odds? It's a little life story. It's going to be an awesome book, so get out there to the bookstore, check it out. And next week, of course, John said, Tony Williams, and I guess you all have a good week. We'll be back next Thursday night, 7 o'clock, Bluegrass Breakdown Radio Show.